All right, so wait. We have 4 volunteers today, including. Well, I'll let you introduce yourselves.
Hello. Okay. I'm Sammy Moore.
A second Sammy. That's 3 of us. Yep.
I'm Annabelle.
Annabelle, who you remember from last class. So, I'm going to say a few things, and then I want to say something about what happened at the end of last class, because I think this is really valuable to put this out there. I think it was Michael and Julietta, right? So they picked out. So this is one of those things that, because first off, because I'm older, right? No, I'm old. And I have a lot of experience speaking in public spaces, and I have a lot of experience of being misinterpreted and having people misremember things that I've said or things that happen, say, in this classroom. And so I'm really careful about the kinds of things I say. And one of the reasons that we started live streaming because we started videotaping the class a number of years ago because we wanted to use the footage for class assignments, which we do. But the secondary thing that it turned out to be really nice is that everything that happens here is on tape. It's recorded. So if there's ever a complaint by somebody who may or not necessarily in the class, but someone who's watching the live stream or watches a video, or if there's anything that happens, we can go back and watch the tape. And so I speak with the idea that I have no idea who is watching the live stream or going to watch a recording of the class. So everything I say, I'm willing to back up anywhere. Because because that's what happens in here. So I'm used to it, right? It's like when you get to be a certain kind of like a public figure in this way, you just pay attention to what's going on. Okay, so it's because I've watched over the years how often things get misinterpreted, and I'm really, really careful about how I interpret things that I see in the world. So when I see some newspaper or radio, some announcement or something, right? I see an article or whatever it is where somebody says something that happened or somebody said something or who knows what. And it's like really crazy. And I think, oh my God, that person said what? What'd they say? Like maybe a college professor, maybe somebody anywhere, I don't know. I'm just like, oh my God, right? But I've learned over the years that far too many things are clickbait, or the title of whatever it is. It gets you to want to click on it to see it, whatever. So in order to feel some kind of emotion to go to it, and so people write titles, and they write, including the things they write about me. Oh my God, the title! It's like, yeah, it's fun. It's actually funny until it's not fun, until you start getting death threats, and then it's not funny anymore, but some of it's funny. So I thought last class, after we left, I thought, wow, that was actually a really interesting example of where somebody could watch that and get really, really snarky, okay? And I want to explain what I saw. So Julietta and Michael, they were going around the classroom picking out the 2 people, remember, who were going to model our swag, our gear. So here it is. It's nice, man. Look at that hat. It's a nice hat. Here's our tote bags. These are for the people who are coming in and coming in for our event. So we're going to do something after class with those. But what you didn't see, and so they picked 3 people came down. So one was an Indian dude. I forget your name, bro. I forget where you were sitting. And then there were 2 white, there you are. And then 2 white women. So their job, remember their job, right? Which is, what was it? To pick people out who would represent Social 19 and World in Conversation. But what you didn't see, or you think like, oh my God, these two people, they picked a brown guy from India. They didn't know he was from India when they picked him out. And they picked two white women who both had kind of blonde hair and so imagine you're watching that. What are you going to think about him automatically? What do you think about him?
I immediately thought it was kind of funny, if I'm honest. I don't know how to word specifically what my thought was, but I was immediately snarky about it.
Snarky about it.
Yeah.
Were you snarky about it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so you get snarky, here are these two people. They picked two white women with blonde hair, and they picked this brown guy, right? And so you get snarky. But what you don't see is they're walking around the classroom and they're picking people, and people are going nah, man, I'm not joining. No, right? And then they pick somebody else, no, I'm not joining. And finally they picked the one woman, but they weren't certain if she was going to join. So then they picked the second white woman, but it turns out they both got up because they're not reading this. They don't read the situation either. So they both got up. They did what they were asked to do, which was awesome. They both came down, but because they didn't know what we were going to do. So here they are. Now now Michael and Julietta, who are doing exactly pretty cool. They pick a brown guy and they pick a blonde hair woman, but two blonde hair women come down, not knowing what happened up there with these two women, right? You're following me, right, bro? You're following me? And so so now it looks like, they picked three people, and there you go. So snarky, right? This is what happens. We get snarky because we don't know the whole story. And it took, I understood the story in the moment, but I understood what happened because I was watching them point to a couple different people, and I watched a couple people shake their heads and be like, nah, man, I'm not doing that. So, and I know how it works. I have the power. I can go up and I'm like, hey, bro, come up here. No, not. See, he was even going to do it now, and I wasn't even going to ask him. But hey, come up here, and he's going to come. Now, sometimes people would say no, this dude, maybe he'll say no, but he's probably not going to. He's going to come up. But they don't have that power. And people don't want to just come up. They don't know what it is. They don't know what it's about. But if you're in the home viewing audience or you're sitting in your seats, you go the snarky route. And then it's oh, okay, here we go. And then white people, right? Because, Julietta, she's from Venezuela, but she's white. Her ancestry is European, Venezuelan, right? So she looks mostly white. I mean, she didn't look fully white to me. I would have picked her out as mestiza because I would pick out that she had some Indian blood in her, but didn't matter. So that's what you're going to see. And I think so again, I watched at the end of class. I didn't really jump into that because I was going to try to get through the conversation that I wanted to have, which we're now going to expand on a little more. But that's a really, really nice lesson in not being snarky because you don't know the whole story. Now you're there, right? The two of you get it?
Yeah.
Do you feel snarky? No. Of course you don't. It's it's a cool story. It's a funny story. It's a cool story, and it's cool that both of the women came down, right? Okay, so one of the struggles that I have in this world of race relations, which we're gonna get to the two of you in 1 second. I just want to say this. One of the reasons that people are so afraid to talk about these issues is because we're so afraid of doing the wrong thing or saying the wrong thing, which is I don't want to go up and volunteer because I might say something, whatever, ignorant or racist or whatever, and I don't want to do that. So, but we don't want to do that. I'm trying to break through it. There's nothing wrong. Come on, man. And if something happens like that, I'm gonna pretty quickly see what's going on, and we'll bail us out. Can you go to the next slide? So today we're going to talk about the complexities of representation. So last class we were talking about representation, right? So the idea is, hey, I want to pick two people out to model this swag, okay, the gear, and I want you to do that, or we want to Michael and Julietta to do that, and somehow they need to be representative of whatever it's going to be representative. Okay, so I want to ask the two of you first off. There's no answer to this question, so I want to be really clear. When you get invited up to volunteer, I'm going to ask you questions that you have no answer. You don't have an answer to, so you're going to have to think of it in the moment. That's the point of volunteering, because I'm not going to ask you like data or something like that. So what representation? Okay, so like I want someone to model the gear, the swag, who I want to think about who it is that models the swag. Okay? Why does that matter? Why do you think it matters? Sammy, we can start with you.
Representation matters because, like we said, the thing's being live streamed to everybody or anybody who wants to watch it. So if you're going to pick someone to showcase something about the class, you want to show the people at home who don't see the whole crowd, maybe the kinds of people who are in this class. And it's important for them to understand the different kinds of people here.
Okay. How is it important? Like what is it? What makes it important? Sammy, we'll go with you still. Stay on. By the way this works oftentimes when you get into race conversations is that like white people almost always defer to people of color, especially black people, right? So like it's just going to be like, because white, you never want to go first if you're white. Because like, come on, man. Like what the hell? I want to wait and see what she says, what Annabelle says, and I'm just going to kind of play off that. Yeah, not in here, man. White people, come on, man. Grow some cojones. It's all right. It's all good. No, it's good. It's good. Because one of the things that I do in here is for all of us is really model how to talk about a lot of this stuff. And white people do not, just because Annabelle, for example, is black. Just checking to make sure, you know what I mean? These things happen. No, so just because she's black doesn't mean that she has answers about race. I mean, so many black people and brown people that never think about this stuff, and they're just like empty-headed about it all. They're just like, I don't know. I never think about discrimination, or I really don't think much about my skin color. And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, man, I really don't. I swear. And so, like, what has to happen is we got to get out of this sort of binary thing whereby, you know, black and brown people know it all, and white people don't. Just like, you know, women know everything about gender and sexism and so on, and men don't. And anybody who's trans, you know, you're sort of in between the world. So anyway, what if we don't do that? So what if we don't represent? Like what bad thing, like what could happen? Like what's the problem?
I don't know.
Go ahead.
I mean,
give it a thought though. Like what do you think?
I mean, when it comes to like representing a class of 700 people, picking 2 to represent the whole group isn't gonna happen. Like if you just pick 2 representatives, there are still gonna be people in the room that aren't represented, no matter who we pick. Okay,
got you. And yet we do that all the time. You know, you have like we have to take a photo for 119. It's gonna show on the website. And it's like, I can't take a photo of, like, we want to show a photo of a close-up of 2 people. Which 2 people? It's a political act, right? So Annabelle, what do you think? Like, why do you think representation matters? That was a cool answer, by the way. I like what you were saying. Yes?
Yeah, I have so far agreed a lot with what Sammy has said, and also like representation matters just so like people see themselves in the things that they consume in general. But if we're like, you know, talking about this class specifically, like, Yeah, I don't have a ton to add to what Sammy said about when it comes to this class specifically. Like, it's impossible to accurately represent everybody. And just to speak more generally for a second, I think that's why a lot of media tends to use like racially ambiguous people, or like try to pick like one of each whatever thing. And I think it's kind of interesting on how we try to do that. And it's a good thing, in my opinion, to try to represent as many people as possible. But at the end of the day,
okay, hang on. I want to stop you there.
Okay.
What makes it a good thing?
so people can see themselves in the media they watch and relate to it and feel like they belong in certain places.
So people can see themselves, relate to it, and feel like they belong.
Yeah.
What's that mean for you?
For me, it helps me feel like I'm not an outlier in certain situations. It makes me feel more comfortable. I don't really know how to like explain it beyond that. Just kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, just about being comfortable in certain spaces.
Okay. So, Sammy, let me ask you this then. How about you? How about this question of being comfortable or feeling comfortable? Like how often does that come up for you? As a white woman, right? What's your ancestry, by the way?
German.
German? Okay. How often does that enter into your... Go ahead.
Well, as a woman, I'm in the engineering fields, so there we're pretty like underrepresented, and so that's kind of interesting.
Okay. All right, so you have some experience with this, right? What's the ratio of men to women in your engineering classes on average?
I'd say, well, in a class of, I'd say about 30, I'm one of 5.
Yeah? Okay.
So 1 to 6.
So, and you feel on the issue of so you're in a place where you often feel like kind of what Annabelle just said, like an outlier, or like, do you feel discomfort? Do you feel like...
It's different being in an environment that is like, I'm very outnumbered by men. I don't feel like anyone has like put any sort of like pressure against me though.
Okay.
Like, I don't feel excluded. It's just, there is a certain feeling when I'm sitting in a room full of men and I'm one of the few women.
Okay. How about you? That question of being excluded, do you...
To kind of go back to what I said, like my entire life, I've been surrounded by people that don't look like me. Like, I grew up in this town, and have oftentimes been like the only black person in a room.
But you grew up in State College?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I guess I kind of want to go back on what I said. I don't necessarily like feel discomfort when I'm not represented in a room or not around people who are like me. It's just like a hyper awareness of like what I am and who I am and having to be that thing well.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird to think about it that way.
Yep.
Just like having to be an ambassador, whatever thing you are, is kind of weird.
Yep.
And that's kind of the feeling I feel. It's not exactly discomfort, it's just kind of like a type of pressure.
Yeah, I got you. So it's kind of like, I mean, the experience I have is as a professor, right? When I'm in places and people have no idea that I'm a professor or that I teach here, or I teach 119 or whatever, I can walk across another college campus and I'm just invisible, and it's just like, I'm not hyper aware, I'm just me. But suddenly when I'm here, and I never know it's different, right? It's a different kind of thing. It's very different because for me it's very localized, right? But for you, or for you it's more localized because it's about your classes. But for you it's a little bit wider. So one of the things that I have this idea, I want to see what you think about this. Representation it's not about being PC, right? So, like a lot of people will just say, oh, well, we have to represent the different groups. It's like, because we have to. Because if we don't, if we don't, it'll be bad. And well, what will be bad? Well, the only thing they often have is, like, I don't know, we'll just be in trouble or something. I don't know, whatever it is. And it's like, I don't know, why do you have to represent? Why do you have to represent it all, man? Just take two. If I want a photo for the front page of the website, let me just get my phone, wherever my phone is there, and just take a photo of any two people. Like, who cares, right? But it does matter, just in the way that, for example, it matters the clothing we wear in the process of what's called impression management, right? The clothing I wear, because I'm symbolizing something. I want people to see me in a certain way. So, for example, if you start, like, either of you start dating somebody, right? And you go meet their parents, let's say for the first time, you're going to be thinking about what you're going to wear that the parents will see you in a particular way. Because, like, of course, this is the nature of it. So it's impression management. You're managing the symbols that you are sending off. It's like, why do you care? Why would you care? Just show up in whatever you're wearing, and like that's what it is. Well, the same thing happens in a workplace, or same thing happens in Social 19, or the same thing happens at Penn State University. Same thing happens anywhere and everywhere. It's the nature of it. It's how it works. We're always doing that. And so we're constantly thinking about who's going to be in, who's going to represent us, and how and why does it matter. So it's a thing, and it's okay, right? It's not just about, well, we have to do this because, it's like, no, you don't have to do it. Have a thoughtful reason for doing it. Okay, so now I want to go back to this question. Who do the two of you think should model the swag? Who should I pick out to model the swag?
Do you want us to pick them?
No, just talk about it. Who would you pick?
Well, one of the easier choices is one guy, one girl, because there's pretty even split.
Okay. But there's a growing non-binary community that's going to maybe it's like, yeah, we're always left out. Okay, got it. Yeah, we're being included, but we're always left out. All right, whatever. Okay. But we could get someone who looks a man who's a little bit femmy and a woman who's a little bit masculine. So we could cover that. Okay, so non-binary people, don't get you're all worked up. We got you covered. All right, go ahead. What else?
I guess one person of color at least, and a white person, I guess.
Well, here, let me show you this. Can you go to the next slide? Okay, so here, Chinese represent 18. This is Social 19 and World in Conversation. It's not Penn State in Conversation. We've talked with people in over 30 different countries around the world, including China, including India, including Indonesia, Pakistan, and Brazil. Okay, so China is 18% of the world's population. India is 17.5%. And then you got to go all the way down to the U.S. and Indonesia. So don't you think we should pick somebody from China or India?
Yeah.
Ideally a Chinese Indian or an Indian Chinese. Well, hang on. Go ahead. I don't know. What do you think? Sammy, what do you think?
Well, yeah.
Hey, by the way, hang on. By the way, you understand? You understand what's going on here? You get that I am not saying, I'm not telling anybody what to think. I'm not, okay, we should do this, we should not. No, I'm just thinking through what some things are, just to think about. Because all of it, if you happen to be sitting in your seat or you're watching and you're saying this is just nonsense, this doesn't matter. Well, that's because you haven't turned your brain on. Turn your brain on, man. These are really interesting questions. It's kind of cool. How? How do you do this, right? The complexities of it. So should we get someone from, we got to do China or India. So which one do you pick?
We can only pick one?
I don't know. That's a rhetorical question. Wait, how about this one? It's estimated, and don't hold me to this number, but I found this research paper where someone said, it looks like about 15% of human beings on the planet directly, not like indirectly, but directly derive their ancestry from Africa, from black Africa, right? Because only about 80% of Africans are black. So it's from black Africa. So it's like, okay, 15%. Do we pick a black person? Why would we pick a black person and not a person who's Chinese? Right? And white people, the best that I could come up with very quickly, I didn't have time and I didn't see anything, is about maybe 10 to 11% are of European ancestry. So why pick a white person? You know?
I mean, because there's white people in this class. And
Yeah, but look at all the brown people in this class, man. Right? Look at all the black people.
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we just pick a Chinese person and an Indian person, the two highest. I don't know.
Statistically, that would make the most sense.
Yeah, if you want to do that, you could just do that. Or here, I got one for you. You ready? Now let's take it to another level. Go to the next slide. So 42 million, do you know what 42 million people do in the United States? Do you know what that represents? Do you have any idea? Anyway? Dude.
Are obese?
No. No. It's higher than 42, my friend, in the United States. 42% of people living in the United States speak Spanish in the home. 42 million people, I mean. That's 13% of the population. So maybe, you know, it was like Julieta could have just picked herself. I'm assuming Julieta speaks Spanish, right? Okay. So, 30%, and in Texas, it's 30% of Texans speak Spanish.
I mean, if we go back to the picture, you can't tell what language they're speaking in a
Okay.
picture.
All right.
I was about to say the same thing because, like, that's something that I think about a lot is because, like, when people look at me, they don't automatically think that's a Latina person, but I am one.
Yeah.
And so, like, with things like language or where you're from or nationality, like, people can't obviously see that about you. And so the one way we have to obviously show diversity is people that look different, and we can tell, like, oh, this person's a this thing. But with some things, you can't tell that by just looking at somebody.
Yeah, you can't tell. And it's okay, right? I mean, if you get, and look, and it doesn't really matter. But now I'm going to show you a couple things, all right? So you ready? We're going to walk through a couple things here. Go to the next slide. Okay, so now, I went to the Penn State website. And I went to the admissions website, okay? And I just picked out some, just the first photos that people would see if they were going to apply to Penn State. And, you know, you go to admissions. The first one is like, become a Penn Stater, man. Right there. And that's the first photo. The woman in the white back there, you can't see it here. She looks a bit brown. She definitely doesn't look really white, but I don't know. Does anyone know her? She's probably, maybe you're in this class. Okay. So the very first thing you see, become a Penn Stater. Okay, you get this a brown person, black, maybe she's black, the woman in front. She looks like she's well, she definitely has black blood. What's interesting, by the way, we'll talk about this. Well, I'm not, so we're going to talk a lot about genetics in here. So I look at her and I'm like, okay, she definitely has sub-Saharan African DNA. But I don't know where she's from. She could be Afro-Caribbean. She could be black and white. She could be any number of things, right? Okay? Go to the next slide. Here's the next photo. Okay, so what do we have here? The guy at the top, or is it a woman? I can't really tell. Upside down. It's, okay, black. Another black person. Can't really tell in the back. No people of East Asian origin, unless this person right here is East Asian, right at the top. So I'm like, okay, hang on, did we miss out there? Okay, there's the next one. But we got more representation. This woman here, she looks like she's definitely white, but she also looks like she has some kind of East Asian ancestry. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Oh, here we go. Right? So all this looks just like Penn State. It looks like this classroom, but does it look like Penn State? Okay, let's go to the next one. Oh, all right. So we get a white guy and another black woman, but again, she's a little bit ambiguous, right? I can't really tell exactly where she's from, but she definitely has sub-Saharan African blood. Okay. Next one. First to inspire, a story about a first-generation college student. Okay? She's Indian. Okay, awesome. Very cool story. All right, got it? I'm applying to Penn State. This is what I'm seeing. Next one. Oh, student life. This is Thon, I think, right? Is that Thon? Does that look like Thon? Kind of looks like Thon. I can't tell. Does it look like Thon to you? Kind of does, right? I'll say there's like, black, for whatever reason, the black community at Penn State. Are you involved in Thon at all?
I'm a freshman, so I've...
Oh, you don't know? All right, get involved in Thon. Anyway, the black community has not Look, Thon grew out of the IFC and the PHC, okay? It grew out of white fraternities and sororities back in the day. And only about 20 years ago were they able to really sort of extract that from the white frats and sororities. Okay, so it's fine. So more and more people got involved. But the issue is, for whatever reason, students of color, in particular black students, have just never really jumped into Thon. Just haven't. Black students and brown students get involved in lots of things here at Penn State, but Thon isn't one of them. Okay, so there aren't many black students at Thon, but nonetheless, okay. But she's got the photo. Next one. Okay, then we have this woman. Kind of looks like a young Molly Countermine, if you ever had Molly. Doesn't it kind of, in a way? All right. So, hang on, before you go one more. There's nothing else, right? Okay, so what do you think about that, about these photos? Go ahead.
It obviously shows like the audience they're trying to reach, and also
Wait, it shows what?
The audience that they're trying to reach, and also the foot they're trying to put forward. Like Penn State is trying to attract more people of color. Penn State is trying to be more inclusive, et cetera, because I mean, I've always known this because I've lived here, but it's a majority white institution. Like I've always known this, and people automatically assume that about this place. And so they try to make an effort to attract different kinds of people because they want the statistics to look better and go up. Well, and also to like.
Wait, hang on. Is it just because we want statistics to look better?
No, it's not just about that.
Okay, what else is it about?
It's also about giving more people opportunities that they haven't had before.
Yeah.
And so about those two things.
It's also about, by the way, creating an experience, an educational experience that more reflects the world. Yeah. And so that's one of the cool things about this class. When you do, like, say, your World in Conversation dialogues, or you meet people in class, you have a much higher opportunity, greater opportunity to meet people who are not like you. And it makes it, it's just like you get that. You don't get that everywhere, but you get it here. So we also want that. Sammy, how about you? What do you think about these photos?
Well, the statistics that you showed earlier were fresh in my mind. I didn't really see anyone of like Asian descent.
You didn't see anyone of Asian. Yeah, East Asian, South Asian. Yeah, we didn't see it. Okay, got it. East Asian meaning China, South Asian with India. Uh-huh. What do you think about Penn State doing that? Is that like, do you like that? How's it feel? How do you feel when you see those photos? You as a white person, you're applying to Penn State and you go through these photos and you see all these black and brown people. Like, how does it sit with you?
It's fine.
It's fine. Do you notice it?
I notice it.
And you think what?
Good.
It's good because?
Yeah. Because it is important to represent people.
Because, hang on, you're walking down the road of political correctness here, okay? You're walking down the road as I'm going to say the right thing as a white person, because white people, we've learned to say the right thing. Am I right on that? We've learned to say the right things. So go ahead. Why is it important? Because I don't know that it's important, actually. For me, I don't know that it's important. Why do you think it's important?
I think it's important. Where I grew up was like small town America. It was majority white. So from my perspective, it's important, even in pictures on the admissions site, to see people that look different than you.
So for you, is that a good thing? Is that like draw you to Penn State? Like, oh my God, I'm going to get out of my small town and I'm going to meet some people like Annabelle and like all sorts of other folks?
Yeah, like meet new people, find out people's different like backgrounds, see
Okay.
what experiences
Yep.
they've had, all that stuff.
All right, cool. Yep, I like that. Same here. That's one of the reasons I teach this class. It's a huge piece of why I teach this class. All right, so let me show you a couple of, let's look at a couple other things here, right? Go to the next slide. So here's the population at University Park. Basically 65% white, okay? 10.5% international, which is mostly black and brown students, mostly brown students. By brown, I mean like from South Asia, from China, Korea, and from the Middle East and North Africa. 7.5% Hispanic, 6.5% Asian, 5.5% white, mixed, and then unknown. Okay? So now looking at that, 65% of the students here at University Park are white. Is it a fair? How do you feel about we're showing all these photos of black and brown people?
Sorry. Sorry. I have like two minds about this. There are times when I feel like a little bit more cynical, or like you said earlier, snarky about it, because it's a joke that's made oftentimes about like colleges in general, of just like how, you know, on the brochure it's like there's an Asian guy, there's a black girl, there's et cetera, because they're, you know, trying to put this, you know, foot forward of diversity. But if you look at statistics, you see that. But then, you know, I try to remind myself, like, there's a reason why they're like that, and it's a good thing that those brochures are trying to attract different kinds of people and try to be less cynical about it.
Okay.
It's not just like them being empty and being like trying to be PC, but it's them hopefully
Yes.
making a genuine effort to provide opportunities
Dude.
to all sorts of people and to make
Awesome.
all sorts of people feel comfortable in all sorts of places.
Okay, and I like that. And Annabelle, let me remind you of how you felt snarky the other day with two white people. So if they were all white people up here, you as a black woman, Afro-Caribbean woman, you'd probably be getting a little bit snarky too, like, yo, man. So it's like, you know, like Penn State or whatever. Oh, you're just putting these images up, but then suddenly, that's like, yeah, I mean, it's like a no-win situation, right? Oh, you're just putting the images up, and like, because you want to portray it in a certain way. All right, good. MFers, we won't do any. We'll just put a whole bunch of white people up there. It's like, oh, no, you can't do that, so there's a no-win. And in a way, there's a no-win around a lot of this stuff, right? We're really sort of stuck. Here, let me show you the next couple more numbers here. So in Pennsylvania, 75% of Pennsylvania is white. It's a very white state. It's not as white as Wyoming and Montana, but it's a very white state. And the black population of Pennsylvania is 12.2 versus the U.S., which is about 12.8. So mind you, black students are really underrepresented here at Penn State. And so our Hispanic students are far more underrepresented from the perspective of the United States. But from the perspective of PA, maybe not so much, right? So that changes things. Because, you know, it says Penn State University. So it's like, all right, there's a lot of white people in Pennsylvania, the state in which Penn State University is located. Like, okay. And look, white people in the U.S., we're about 60% at this point. Like, yeah, all right. So there you go. The representation starts to really matter. Let me show you one more thing that's actually interesting. Check this out. Now, one thing I hear, especially Sammy, you'll hear this a lot from black students and Hispanic students, or students of color, is that Penn State is so white. But a very large number of people are coming from areas where there are higher percentages or populations of people of color. Look at, if you're coming from Philly, there's 41% black, and you come up to Penn State, there's 5.5% black. That doesn't mean that Penn State is so white. It's like, yeah, Penn State's white, but Philly's so black. It's like, damn, man, it's not that we're so white, it's just that Philly's so black. If you weren't in Philly, if you were in a place, grew up in a place that was 12.2% black, if that's where you were coming from to go to Penn State, it wouldn't seem so white here. So part of it is where you come from. In New York City, Hispanics in Northern Virginia, 20% Asian. So you get that, right? So you hear students of color complain a lot about this, but I'm like, well, a lot of y'all are just coming from somewhere that's exceptionally colorful. Wait, am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Of course I am. All right. Any final thoughts? Any final thoughts on that, on what I just said there? Because that's how I want you to respond. And the next time you hear a black person or a brown person complain about Penn State being so white, ask them. Here's what you do. Ask them, where are you from? And then see what they say. Any final comments about?
And the thing that I think is really funny is like, comparing relative experiences, like you're just comparing it to where you've been before. For me, like Penn State's very white, but it's a lot more colorful than the school that I went to.
Yeah,
and
totally.
I think that's really funny. Like I've been around more black people that have made more black friends in like the past week that I have in like my 18 years living here.
Yeah,
and I think it's really funny.
Where'd you go to, State High?
I went to Delta.
Oh, to Delta, right,
yeah.
okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah, those are just like I got you. I love Delta. All right. Delta's the alternative school for people like Annabelle, man. Yeah. So cool kids, by the way. Cool kids. Do you have any final comments? Any final thoughts? Let me ask you, how was it to volunteer? Because you're now going to do an advertisement for other people. Like, how was it being up here?
It wasn't that bad. I did not volunteer.
I volunteered you.
Before class, he came up to me. I was sitting over there, and he said, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, and you did.
So, yeah, not that bad.
It's cool, right? There are no right and wrong answers. There's nothing. It's all good. It's just a nice, yeah. Hey, thanks, man. Thanks. Okay. All right, you can have a seat. Thanks. Hey, yeah, you were great. Wait, hang on, 1 second. There you are. Let's see. Next two volunteers. Wait, who's the? Wait, where's? It's Ali, right? You're here, right? I hope you're here. You're here, bro? Yeah, all right, man. Have a seat, bro. What's up, man? Nice meeting you. You can just sit on the table.
I'm too short.
You too short?
Yeah.
All right, dude. Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, just stand. We don't have that much time. All right. So, introduce yourselves to the class and say something about where you're from and like where you lived, a few different things, okay? Is it Ali?
Yeah, it's Ali.
Go ahead, Ali. You're on, man.
Hi guys, I'm Ali. I'm from Iran, but I've lived in different countries throughout my life. I lived in China, lived in India, been in the States for about 6 years now. I traveled to a lot of places. My dad's Indian and my mom's Malaysian, so I got a really different background. But yeah, it's fun to be here.
Wait, so what languages do you speak?
Persian, Hindi, a little bit of Russian, English, and I can read Arabic, but I cannot have a conversation in Arabic.
But you lived in China for a bit, so Mandarin at all?
I've been to an English school.
Do you know any swear words in Mandarin?
I know cute words. If there's a girl, right, and then you gotta say, hey, you're cute. You can say 你好漂亮. So it's like you're cute.
Did he get it? You got it? Dude, how about what do you know in Russian?
Oh,
You gotta know swear words in Russian, man.
yeah, a little bit.
Okay, yeah, but don't say anything. What do you know in Russian? Can you say, like, give me more, I want more vodka? Another shot of vodka?
No, none of that stuff. It's just basic,
Oh, yeah,
you know,
'cause
like
wait, are
das
you
vidanya,
Muslim?
those kind of stuff.
Are you Muslim?
Yeah, I'm
Do
Muslim.
you drink?
No, I don't drink.
All right, okay. So then you should be able to say, I don't drink vodka.
Yeah.
All right, just checking. Wait, do you really not drink, or is it just because the cameras are
No,
on?
I don't drink. I don't drink.
Because what you get, see, and all the Arabs in here, I'm going to call you out a little bit on this. It's like, no, I'm Muslim, I don't drink. Except that on spring break, I go to, like, Las Vegas. Like, I don't gamble either because, that's haram. So we don't do that, and we don't drink, and nothing sexual at all. But I go spend spring break at Vegas. Yeah. All right. Dude, nothing happened. What do I do in Vegas? I just hang out. You know what I mean? Okay, bro. So, wait. Go ahead. Say your name again.
Hi, my name's Wei Li.
Okay, Wei Li.
Yeah, Wei Li. I'm from Singapore. Ethnically can't speak. I'm Asian, but
Wait,
I would
hang
say
on.
I'm Chinese.
Wait, hang on. Go back. Ethnically, you're Han Chinese?
Yeah, I'm Chinese.
Okay, good. Wait, Han Chinese?
I wouldn't know. I'm just Singaporean Chinese, I guess.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. All right, keep going. Yep.
So a lot of people, because I work in a industry that is hospitality, and number one question I get is, you speak English really well. And I have to say, English is a first language in Singapore, because we have Indians, we have Eurasians, we have Chinese, we have Malays, we have everybody there, and government's like, let's make it simple. It's English everywhere. Yeah.
Although 75% of the population is
Chinese.
And like, what, 10% is Malay, right? Okay. So, the reason I thought the two of you would be really good is, what do you make of all this diversity, representation stuff like here at Penn State? What do the two of you make? Or not just at Penn State, in the United States. Like, what do you make of it? Like, what do you...
It's definitely good to talk about it, get to know about different people's culture, where they're coming from, because people from different cultures think differently about same topics. So, someone could have one stance on one stuff, other person could have a different stance. So, you can have like an idea, oh, he's a little bit religious, so, that's why he's coming from that perspective. Or, he has a single parent house, he was raised in a single parent household, that's why, he thinks like this or she thinks like this. So, I think it's nice to talk about diversity.
Yeah, it's like you date somebody and one go, oh, that's really sweet, and the other go, that's offensive.
Say that again?
You can date somebody and you date one go and the go goes, oh, that's really sweet, and you date another go and that's
right.
really offensive. It's like different cultures, you got to learn about that.
You really have to learn
and be
about
respectful about it too.
But the two of you, just given where you've lived, languages, coming up against cultures in the way that you have, how do you manage the like fluidity of moving between cultures and stuff? Like, how do you do that?
Well, like I said, Singapore, we have different kind of cultures, and growing up, it's taught that it's a very small country.
Yeah.
Very high population density, so you're gonna see different kind of people all the time, despite the, like you said, 75% Chinese. But yeah, I think it's just observe, just understand. Like, if you're not sure, ask. Like, hey, I'm sorry to say this, it might be offensive.
So wait, do you say that in Singapore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
So it's not
It's
just
like the whole like fasting period for the Muslims, like
for Ramadan.
Yeah, Ramadan. Yeah.
Wait, so okay, let's go to Singapore for a hot minute. So people have the idea that maybe we'll talk about this next class even, right? But people have the idea that Americans are like highly offended all the time. We're always getting offended and stuff. Do people in other countries see us that way?
I don't really think that way. I mean, it's you see kind of like oddballs out, someone saying something on the news and becomes viral. But if you meet like a general normal American, you talk to them, they're pretty nice to talk about. So it's kind of like the news and kind of like the odd news out there that makes you think, oh, America's racist. But it's everyone's pretty nice the way I'm at.
But I also think like globally, like, when it comes to news, like depending where you are, they want to portray America in a certain way. And that makes you kind of like have a certain impression about America that's like, if you look like a couple years ago with Trump and everything, like it's actually all right. I've been here a year, but when you look at the news, people want to say like, oh, there's so much anger towards a certain party or like that, and makes people think like American, like you said, Sam, Americans get offended easily. Like it's just what you're exposed to and what you're exposed to, how do you want to portray it.
Okay, all right, so listen, so I have this idea that, in fact, most people are not highly offended on most things, right? People are Americans in particular are actually pretty tolerant. So, the problem is we watch the news and we look at all the clickbait stuff on the news, and somebody used one little wrong word and they lost their job or whatever it is. I don't know, right? And then that becomes the news thing, and then we think, oh, these Americans are like the woke crowd. Like all of you, do you know what woke mean? Do you know the woke crowd, who I'm talking about?
Like woke, yeah. Like I mean, the thing I think about is Barack Obama when I think woke, because it's like he had a poster with woke on it. Yeah.
Well, what's it mean when I say like, oh yeah, the students in class who are woke? What's that
it
mean?
means like down with the new terms. It's like he knows what cisgender means, or those kind of stuff.
I find it funny you mentioned that, because like in Singapore, when you say like, hey, you're a dog, means like you're not good. But over here, like, damn, you dog, you're fired, means like, oh, you're so good. And like it took me a while to realize that.
So you have to, yeah. Okay, so we have this idea. There's this kind of perception, I think, on the part of lots of Americans that we're, especially college students. So the people, especially the people who would be more likely to, get news from, say, like Fox News and that sort, and the right. So they have this idea that you all, as a general group, right, which includes the two of you, are highly sensitive, too sensitive for sure. Consider yourselves to be woke, meaning like you get the right answer, and you're really liberal, and you use all the right terms, and you're very inclusive, and you don't want to offend anybody, and you're just overly sensitive to a wide range of issues, and very quickly willing to call people out and cancel them. You know what canceling is?
And I think like the different body languages in different cultures make a part. Like for example, in Korean culture, I'm not Korean, but like when you see an elder, you can like bow and you greet, and then Americans is like, and then the Korean sees that, they think like, oh, you're rude, which you're not.
Yeah. Okay, yes. Let me say this one final thing, and then I have a question for you. So I actually think, as someone who teaches a class like this and engages with young people on highly sensitive topics, I'm not really sure that y'all are really that sensitive. I think that people are pretty highly tolerant. But all you need is, like in this class, so here's what happens. Like, I could say something that would be like really just so mild, like what? Like when I said earlier, whatever, remember when I said like, oh yeah, it's a little more colorful, right? Perfectly fine. I mean, come on, man. And I made a joke about, can I say that? Of course I can say it. This is not, right? But any one person could say like, oh my God, that's so offensive. And then they just start something. And then once it shows up in Onward State or the Collegian or whatever, then it becomes, then it's like all of you are accused of being woke and too sensitive. And then not only all of you, but all of Penn State. And not only all of Penn State, but all college students in the United States. And actually, I don't see that. I really don't see that. I think people are quite tolerant and willing to.
And I also think like a couple years ago, there was this Chinese professor, I forgot which college it was. He was using like a filler word like that.
Yeah.
And Mandarin is like naga, which, you know, I don't want to say what it sounds like, but then like a whole huge like lawsuit and everything. I think he got fired from his job.
No, he didn't
And
get fired. He got reinstated. He was from
Yeah.
USC.
Yeah, so like after that incident, and because that's you
Wait,
want.
hang on. You speak Mandarin, right?
Yeah, I do. And that's because like one of the rare incidents that happened.
No, hang on.
Okay.
Let's use this as an example.
Yeah.
Right? And you're going to decide whether this is offensive. You don't speak Mandarin, right?
No, I don't.
Okay, we're going to do it.
Okay.
Okay? So, there's a filler. Do you know what filler words are?
Yeah, like buzzwords. Oh
No,
no,
filler
Oh,
words.
filler. Yeah.
Like literally like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like. Yeah.
Yeah, like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah, like yeah.
Yeah, see, you even got the American, the English, the uniquely American. Wait, hang on. Do English speakers in Singapore say like a lot?
Oh yeah.
Everybody.
Everywhere.
It's a global
As
thing.
long as you speak English, you're
I
gonna.
know.
That's the number one we know. Like
I
if
know.
you don't know how to answer a question, like yeah, like.
Yeah. No, I picked this up when speaking Spanish. In Ecuador, the filler word used to be pues, you know, and like it seems like pues, yeah, maybe. Estoy pensando de ir a pues. No sé. You throw it in, and then when I'm around people that are using pues all the time, then I start saying it. Okay, so the filler word. The filler word. What's it mean in Mandarin?
Like literally that.
It means that. And it's a filler word, like, okay, that. And you know think of how often people say like in the United States in a sentence. How often do you guys hear people saying like?
Yeah, every time.
Every sentence.
Every 5 seconds.
Okay, you know.
See?
So you're going to say like a lot. Like, I'm not really sure, but I kind of, like, you know, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to say this. And like you really have to fight to not say it. So now, that is the filler word in Mandarin. Okay? Who else speaks Mandarin here? Bro, you speak. Hang on a second. Hang on. Thanks. All right, bro. So the filler word in Mandarin. So imagine that somebody comes along and says, like, is offensive to me. And you're an English speaker, and you got to not say like because it's offensive to somebody. Okay? And you're like, oh, shit. But it's not like. It's a word that sounds like. So you can't say this word that sounds like. Like, you know, like I'm going to, like, you know, every time I say it, like I'm going to offend somebody.
It's literally like asking Gary Vee not to curse.
Yeah. Exactly, dude.
If you guys know who Gary Vee is, he's like an entrepreneur, very famous on social media. He says fuck all the time.
Like every... Dude, how do you say fucking Persian, by the way? No, how do you say it? What's the swear word that's like the swear word that's like it? Not how do you say it like the act.
Strov.
What is it?
Strov. Strov.
Strov. Oh, I can do that. Strov. I'm going to learn that in here so you'll all know what I'm saying. Okay, so so this word in Mandarin sounds like the N word. Right? Wait, bro, do you know what the N word is? The N bomb? Does anyone not know what it is? Bro, you know what it is? Everyone knows what the N bomb is? The N word. So the like word sounds like the N word, but it's not the N word because it means that. It's not that word. Okay? So now, we're going to get two different Mandarin speakers to say that word that sounds like the N word, but it's not the N word. Okay? It's a different word. It is a Mandarin word. Okay?
How about we have a regular conversation in Mandarin and you can see how much we say.
Okay, go ahead. Dude, the two of you, have a conversation and see if you pick it up, all right? Wait, hang on. Are we cool? Is there anybody who's like, we're going to, oh my God, you're going to like report me to the Office of Hate at Penn State. Are we good?
Get reinstated.
It's not that word. Got it? It's not the word. Okay, are we good? Anybody? Because if you do, we're not gonna do this because I don't want to deal with Are we good? It's probably, by the way, it wouldn't be black people who would be offended of that, by the way. It'd be the woke white people that would be offended. So I'm not looking to black people are going like, hell yeah, I want to hear this word. You know what I mean? But it's the woke white people who are like, I'm never going to do this word or that word or any word that sounds like it. So maybe I'll just never learn how to speak Mandarin because I won't have to say it. All right, dudes, you have a conversation and use the word a bunch of times. Not right away, though. Don't use it right away. Wait till you get into it a little bit. All right, go ahead, man.
你好，
你好，
我是魏宇，我是今年大二。
我叫 Cooper， 我今年也大二。
那你在 State College 最喜欢吃的那个中餐是啥？
我在 State College 经常去那个小四川。
对，我也喜欢吃那个小四川。然后你觉得你喜欢在亚洲亚超你喜欢买啥？
亚超
如果你在想东西啥？
你说哪个？
就是在亚超，如果你买食物还是什么，你会喜欢哪个？
我。
And by the way, 那个 and 哪个 is different.
Yeah, 哪个 means where, like 哪个 means that.
Did you hear? Okay, go ahead. Yeah, say it. Go ahead. Say what you were going to say.
Conversation.
Sorry, I cut you off. No. Say what you were just going to say.
Yeah, because like 哪个 means that, 哪个 means where, and
what?
Yeah, like when we're trying to say that, we don't, because like Chinese is a tone language. We say 哪个, but like you don't say like. Are you going to? You say, are you going to, right? So like when you speak faster, it sounds like.
It sounds like the N word.
Yeah, it sounds like an N word, and it sounds
but
like.
The actual word is, say it again.
那个.
那个 yeah.
那个. Did you hear it? Did you hear that when they were talking?
Yeah.
Did anybody hear it? Did you heard it when they were talking?
And I think for me it comes up the most cause I'm like Singapore, we speak English more, and I only use more Mandarin in Penn State because I have more Chinese friends here.
Yeah.
When I was used to translate, like I want to translate something in English to Mandarin, speaking to a Mandarin friend who's not really good in English, and I go like, 那个, yeah, like, literally like, and that's when you use that word a lot, and I think that's what the prof was facing. He was trying to translate stuff. So I think and to add on to the point we were saying earlier, that one case has been highlighted to the community, which makes people think Americans are not tolerant, which they're not.
Yeah, so it makes people think we're not tolerant because people would, it's like, look, imagine, so you get the word right here, right? So imagine that somebody goes, so hang on, where's Annabelle? Imagine someone goes to you and says, you can't, like Wei Li, right?
Yeah.
Wei Li goes to you and says, you can't say like anymore because that sounds like a really offensive word for me. And I like, could you imagine saying that to him? No. Oh, yeah.
Like if you're speaking Chinese and you're using
Or no, can you imagine him saying that to you? That's what it is. I got confused there. Yeah, he comes up to you and is like, you can't say like anymore. You can't do that. You really offend. Like after class when you were talking, you really offended me when you were talking.
I would try to be nice in the moment, but in my head I'd be like, that's kind of dumb because I was speaking English.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly. So this is the problem that you get into. And this is the problem of cross-cultural stuff, right? So imagine the professor who's fluent Chinese speaker and was teaching his students about filler words. That was the lesson of the day, was filler words for this professor. And he was trying to teach them this word, just like you did. And people were like, oh, and then somebody complained. And immediately, he lost his job, immediately. And then they rehired him. But the first thing they had to do was fire him because, oh my God, how amazing is that somebody would do that. All right, so listen, man. Tell us, What are people most sensitive in Iran? What are people like most sensitive about?
Most sensitive about,
Yeah.
like in terms of like the food they eat, like what are they allergic
Just
to?
anything, yeah, anything.
But so most people in Iran don't have like peanut allergies or anything. Like
No, not the food. Yeah, no. I didn't realize where you were going.
Okay.
No, like, well, hang on. Who's got anybody who has a question for them? Right here. We have 3 minutes left. Who's got a question they want to ask? Either of them. Someone ask a question. Someone's got a question for somebody, or me, or anybody. I don't know. Whatever. Who's got a question? You got a question? All right.
Hello. I was gonna say in like each of where you're from, what are they most intolerant about?
Oh, good question. What are they most intolerant about? That was a question I wanted to ask, and I couldn't think of it.
Well, if you like intolerant about, so like alcohol is banned in Iran, right? Like you cannot really drink. Just like Qatar is like you're not allowed to drink. So if you come like as a foreigner, but you bring something in like a contraband, or you're trying to distribute something, whiskey or something, they're pretty intolerant about that.
Mm-hmm. How about in Singapore?
That's a really good question.
Yeah, what are they intolerant about?
Isn't that what profs say when they need extra time to think?
You need extra time?
Nah, because like I said, we have different cultures.
Yeah.
But I think like because of how high population density and how fast the pace of life is, people just get really not tolerant about like not making full use of your time. Like literally, when you come down here to the US, it's like you go to a restaurant, you gotta wait for the hostess or the waiter to come find you. In Singapore or Korea or China, like let's just use Korea as an extreme example.
Yeah,
You go to a
Korea's a good
restaurant, you want to
example.
order food.
Yeah.
You don't go there and you wait. You go there, you scream, "Hey, come over here!"
Yeah.
Literally, like that's perfectly fine. But over here, people's like, "That's rude." Imagine you doing that. Here, it's like, yeah, things just go crazy.
Yeah. Junho, would you give a thumbs up to that? Not entirely? Yeah. All right. We'll have a conversation about that. Hey, I think though time in general, wasting time is
Like,
an issue
I'm
in
working-
East Asian culture.
I'm working at my internship. I'm working slow, and people like, "You're working too fast."
Yeah.
So-
Hey, all right, listen, everybody. Wait, hang on. Let me make a final. We have 1 minute left on my watch. Let me just make a final announcement. First off, can we give a hand to these two guys? All right. Secondly, really fast. It's the first weekend, okay? The first full weekend after classes start. Most problems on this campus involve alcohol, okay? And be really thoughtful about if you don't know how to drink, recognize that you don't know how to drink, and watch yourself, okay? Like really, the last thing you want at Penn State University is an underage violation on your record. So don't do that. And make sure you read the syllabus. And on Tuesday, we start taking attendance in class. So we will see you.